to the kbbreview podcast. I'm Andy Davies, and this is a very special bonus episode of the show. Today we're meeting appliance brand Midea, and if you're unfamiliar with them, you won't be for long. They are simply one of the biggest appliance companies in the world. Based in China, they are an enormous global player, and their UK operation, established just 4 years ago, is now ramping up at a massive pace. In particular for kitchen specialists, they're building not just the Midea brand itself, but also Teka, a brand with loads of heritage that they bought last year, and many of you, of course, will already know. Lots of you will get your first chance to see what they're all about at KBB Birmingham in a couple of weeks' time, where they are going all in with a big stand. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what they come up with, and I'm sure you'll be taking the time to go along there too. So today we're meeting Head of Marketing Julia Livitt and Kitchen Retail National Account Manager Ben Day to get a bit more background on plans, strategies and ambitions, and what Midea is all about. You can also find out more about Midea at midea.com/UK. That's midea.com/UK. And that link is in the episode description, and you can come and meet them on stand G80 at KBB Birmingham. So as promised, here is Julia Livitt. Hello, Julia.
Good afternoon.
And we have Ben Day. Hello, Ben.
Hi.
Right, let's start, I think, by quickly establishing what your roles are so everyone knows which point of view you're coming from. So, Julia, you're head of marketing, and you've been pretty much with Midea since it started in the UK, really, haven't you?
Yeah, it'll be 4 years for me, actually, on Valentine's Day. What a good way to spend Valentine's Day. So,
well, congratulations to you.
I know, lovely.
That's how much you love your job, Julia.
That's my commitment to the company. February the 14th, 4 years ago, which is pretty much when Midea for the UK came into the market.
All right, and Ben, you're the head of sales, but you're also the new boy.
I am. I'm the new boy, so I've learned how to store the tea properly. Everyone else is fully quenched, and so I'm looking after kitchen retail effectively for Midea in the UK.
But we're counting this in weeks, aren't we? Really?
Yeah. So I started beginning of the year, 5th of Jan. I started, so still very much the new boy, and still meeting everyone in the office and all that kind of stuff. So
there we go. You're fast tracking everything there is to know. Let's get down to business here. So I think lots of people in this sector will actually be very unfamiliar with Midea as an entity, which is a bit strange when you find out just how incredibly massive it is. So Julia, you're probably best placed to give us a little bit of background on the company as a whole. We'll come to the UK specifically in a minute, but fill us in on the kind of global picture of the thing for those that don't know the company.
Yeah, and I think that's a reoccurring theme since I've been working for Midea. I think a lot of people may know the name, particularly if you're in the industry and from the trade, because they do a lot of work from a manufacturing perspective globally. And that's how I knew the brand or the organisation before I joined. And in terms of scale, obviously in the UK, we're quite small, been here for 4 years. But as a global entity, we're one of the largest in the space that we operate in, which is major domestic appliances and small domestic appliances. So you're talking sort of $57 billion, sort of a global business. So that is very significant. And when we talk about the relevance of that, I think it's really important that it's about saying, even though in the UK we're quite small, have a small number of people, have a small site in the UK, as a global entity, we are significant. And what that does is bring all of that experience, all of that knowledge, infrastructure, support. And that is super important when you're trying to operate in, a very competitive market. So we bring that whole Midea strength into our UK business in our smaller business in the UK.
It's a Chinese company, and when you look at there's lots of different ways to measure what the biggest appliance company in the world is, but Midea is pretty much up there in every single measure that you can put. And again, if people out there have never heard of it, it's really quite strange because it is absolutely enormous. So let's narrow that down to the UK because you've touched on it a little bit there. Give me a sort of idea of the size and structure here in the UK and how it fits into the wider picture strategically.
So historically, as I mentioned with Midea, it's a manufacturing base and a lot of brands use it for that manufacturing prowess. The business then decided in terms of its strategy, it would focus on the Midea brand and brands within that portfolio. And there's about 70 subsidiaries worldwide where we're all operating with the view to sell the Midea brands into the market. So we are one of those. We started out with about 6 people in the UK across sales, marketing, logistics, finance. So, the real bare bones of what you need to have a set-up business in the UK. And I think in the 4 years now, we're up to about 27 people. And I think this really shows the investment from Midea's perspective in terms of its seriousness about its operation in the UK. Obviously, these things take a bit of time to get the right resource, and it's sort of growing pains that come with that. But to go from where we were from, say, 6 people, we're operating to nearly, I think, 27, 28 people, with ambition to have more people in the team this year. And also, Steve, we talked about Ben joining us, and it's about getting the right people. So we want a real breadth of experience. We want people that have got industry knowledge so that we can sort of fast track bringing all of that into the business and be able to operate at a pace.
So Ben, you're the new boy in the club here, so to speak. Were you surprised when you really started getting under the skin of just the size of this organisation? Were you surprised?
Oh yeah, massively. Midea as a brand in the UK is so small. Obviously, it's predominantly grown via the electrical retail channel at the start, but we own some big brands. We own some big brands that people know, certainly in our industry, in the KBV, Teka, Cuppers Bush, they're both our brands. And certainly with the show coming up, Teka is something that we're going to be shouting about a lot. 100 years of heritage. So yeah, from a Midea point of view, very small. From the brands that we own's point of view, really good.
We'll talk a bit more about Teka in a minute when we talk about the show, but in terms of kitchen specialists, appliances is a really very competitive market, right? And you've got some very, very well-established brands out there that you'll be going head-to-head with. So what is the pitch? What is the difference in terms of products? And what's the point of difference in terms of the offer to independent retailers?
It's a good question because, like you said, the market could be seen as saturated. And there's been a lot of larger brands come in and just go. And that's not something that we want to do. We want to work very collaboratively with studios, certainly. We want to understand what they need from us, what products specifically they need for us, and we can tailor our solution to them. This is one of the main reasons for the show. It shows the legitimacy of what we want to do within the market. It shows the fact that we're here to listen and just see what is required of us. I think I know what's required, but I know from my specific experience of when I had a studio and all that back then, things change. We want to do it right first time. And none of us in Midea have a reason just to go out and tell the market what it wants. We want to hear what the market needs, and we'll tailor it around there.
That's really interesting, actually, because I've been doing this a long time, as you can clearly tell by my face. And I've seen brands come and go, as you say. I've seen brands come in who have bulldozed or attempt to bulldoze their way in just by the sheer size of them. And they get it quite wrong, or it all falls over after a short amount of time. So I think an approach where you kind of come in and go, look, we have this momentum behind us, but we also want to know what it is that you want, and we're prepared to give it to you, rather than here's what it is, boom, here's a brochure, slap it in front of you, and that's what you've got. And look at the size of us, we know what we're doing.
Exactly that. We've got a massive portfolio of technologies we can dip into. We've got some really, really cool stuff that we, will be showing and real future stuff, but that might not be right. Andy, it might not be the right thing for the studios, and we're giving them the opportunity to come and tell us. Say, do you know what? I like that, but you can keep that. So it's exciting. It's really, really exciting to be at point zero for this brand within Kitchen Studios, with that backing of a massive business behind us, and one that's willing to listen.
Julia, your role here is obviously to get the brand name out there. What is the overall strategy there? What kind of investment are we talking about? And when are we going to see some products, out in the market?
Yeah, and I think just to sort of touch on the discussion we've just been having about listening to our customers, one of Midea's strengths is it's very agile, it's super fast paced, it reacts really quickly, and we can bring lots of products to the market, and you'll start to see those appear across the market at the moment. But I think it's really important to go back to Ben's point, is we just need to make sure that if we're going into different channels, we understand that. If we're going into a kitchen studio channel, that might be slightly different to a national retailer. And I think one of our key benefits is we can bring lots of products to lots of people, lots of different brands that meet different needs. And I think that's a super important part of what Midea has within its armoury to be able to offer. In terms of the brand piece, as Ben's pointed out, not many people from a brand perspective would be aware of Midea as a brand. I know when I joined the organisation, I think I first saw it when we were advertising with our partnership with Man City, which does a really important job for sort of scale. If you think about how many views that would be seen on a typical match day and repetitively, so you're seeing it every week at a match, and that gives the amount of fast-paced reach to the brand, but also the credibility. If you think that Man City are a credible team,
well, we can debate that all day long,
yeah,
Julie.
I have debated it many times, and as soon as I say that, we always have this debate. But there's no doubting, they've done a phenomenal job in terms of their own growth. So partnering with somebody like Man City really fast tracks the visibility the brand gets. And when you're operating in a very competitive market and you want consumers to easily identify your brand, be familiar with it, get that ease with it, feel really confident about it. One of the ways to do that is to partner with another credible business. And I think that's how we've achieved almost fast tracking that brand awareness piece. And there's still lots for us to do, and we are working really hard on that. But that was a good starting point for us.
It's true, Ben, isn't it, that retailers want to see push as well as pull, don't they? They want to see that you are investing in driving customers to their showroom, and also that when customers do come in, they've heard of the brands that they're looking at.
Oh yeah, completely. And there's some brands out there who have got fantastic reach with consumers, getting consumers to come into the studios and going, well, I want that. And yeah, it makes the retailer's job a lot easier. And I think personally, I understand the fact that the appliances might not be the be all and end all in a studio's mind when they sell. They're going to make a certain amount of margin on the whole project, whether it's the wood or the sink, the taps, the tiling, the building work, whatever it is. And sometimes the appliances come as, I wouldn't say an afterthought, but they might come slightly further down the line. If we can have visibility in the consumer's mind where they come in and they go, well, do you know what? I've seen that Midea brand and at Man City, it seems really good. Erling Haaland uses it, whatever. Good enough for him, good enough for me. These sort of things in the consumer's mind are so important for retailers. And it makes my job that little bit easier as well, because it's almost like I don't have to send, blanket emails out or, just stick brochures in the post. And people already have started just to call us up and say, look, we've seen you here, there and everywhere. Can we talk about it? And that's great. That's really, really good.
Yeah, because it's momentum, isn't it? It's all about momentum. And when you're building something from the start, it's all about building up momentum, isn't it? All right, so let's go a little bit more into detail on Teka then, because, I know that brand well. Retailers will know that brand well. Hasn't been around for a while. That's probably the best way of putting it. So look, Julia, how did Midea and Teka come together? What's the significance of that in terms of the offer to the market?
Yeah, I think a lot of people in the industry will definitely know the Teka brand and the good work, as that started before Midea acquired it at sort of latter part of last year. It's a bit of a natural fit if you think about the Midea group of brands and what we do in the space that we operate in. I think they saw the opportunity to add the Teka brand into the Midea stable and then allow that part of the market, whether it's to do with the design, the innovation, what the Teka brand will look like in terms of product, to complement what we're doing with the Midea brand. And obviously in a very highly competitive market, that makes sense because your brand needs to cover price point, needs to cover the type of consumer you're trying to attract. And we saw that Teka was a natural fit for our sort of stable of brands. And that's why obviously the decision was made to add it in, and it was incorporated at the end of last year.
It's a bit of a door opener, isn't it? Because if people have heard of that, but they haven't heard of Midea, then it is a way of Trojan horsing to talk about the entire company, isn't it? Can you explain where, in terms of product or price point, Midea stops and Teka begins?
Obviously, they have their own personalities and identities. That work goes on behind the scenes and they're quite different. If I look at the Teka brand from a personality, some of the words that you would use alongside that is empathetic, authentic, unconventional, confident, has very much that sort of European design. We use this inspiring, meaningful moments, and that's quite an emotional thing. It feels like an emotional pull to you, and you can sort of see how that would work in terms of if you're looking for that sort of star within your home and you're that type of customer. And then we go back to Midea, the words that you go with the brand personality: fresh, thoughtful, friendly, progressive, innovation. So this is a slightly different angle, and our sort of tagline is make yourself at home. So instantly, by me just describing those two brands in slightly different ways, you could probably see how you could then separate them to offer different propositions to different consumer types who are looking for different things. And I think generally we're quite guilty of just assuming that it will be separation by price, but actually for this there will be a bit of an overlap. And the overlap will come because for somebody that is looking for something more European designed, they may look at a Teka branded product. If they're looking for something maybe with smart functionality, more around this connected home, it may be they choose a Midea product. And I think it's really important that we use the different personalities within the brand to make sure the consumers are getting this opportunity to decide what suits their needs the most, but also from the trade, how they want to execute, what they want to sell. It gives them the choice of having something for every type of consumer. And I think the Midea piece within Teka, our manufacturing, talking about the reasons that Midea are such an important part of this, is they can bring all that into the Teka brand, and we can start really elevating where Teka has started in the UK and bringing some of that resource into executing Teka in a bigger way.
Yeah, I think it's a really exciting thing. Like I said, I've been doing this a very long time, and I like disruptors. I like people who come in and try and do something a little bit different, mix it all up a little bit. And that feels to me that's what you're doing. I think there is a real revolution's probably the wrong word, but in appliances, I think it's been sort of quite stuck in its ways for quite a long time. And it's been dominated by big European companies. And so it's really exciting to see brands coming in with a new approach to it, with a new approach to technology and a new innovative way of doing something that's quite familiar. So I'm really looking forward to this, because at the KBB show at the start of March, you'll be there. You'll be there for the first time. So it's always good to see new people there. So Julie, talk us through the motivation behind deciding to do that show, because it's a very face-to-face thing. You're really putting yourself out there to talk directly and answer those questions from those retailers. So what's the motivation?
I think for us, it'll be the first time of doing KBB, obviously partly because we haven't been in the UK that long. We've done a few other trade shows along the way and been very successful for us. But we all know the importance of being able to show product. It's, very easy for us to talk about it like we're doing today. We do lots of presentations, meetings, we go and see customers, but actually being able to showcase product to the right people who are in the right market space is super important. And actually for us, KBB is our largest stand build that we've done. We've got about 168 square meters, which will be the largest one we've executed. That will be showing both the Midea brand and the Teka in the same space. And it's a really exciting point for us in the UK. I think it will show what we've got to offer. I think it will show, particularly in Ben's area of the market, his customers will probably be the first time maybe they will have even seen the Midea brand, let alone alongside our Teka brand. So it was a natural fit for us, particularly looking at Teka as a brand in terms of the kitchen space, for us to do this show. And, we're still quite a small organisation in the UK. So for us, it's a big investment to be part of KBB compared to some of our competitors in the space. But we've taken the view that if we're going to do this, we need to be really showcasing what we can do, having a big stand, and hopefully we'll be able to show the trade what we're about and what we can bring to them.
I've no doubt of that, because people like new things. If they know there's something new that they haven't seen before, they'll make a beeline for it. I mean, Ben, you'll be there. You'll have a crew there. Are we going matching polo shirts? Are we having matching ties? What are we doing?
Who knows? I thought matching tutus, maybe.
That would work. You would certainly get attention.
Right? Disruptive.
Yeah.
It's going to be a really good show. I've been going to the show, for years and years and years. I used to go with my mum and dad back in the day. So it's always really exciting to go. And it's good to have a stand to give that legitimacy to the brand going into the market, because we could have, and this is obviously before my time with Midea, but there could have been made a decision to go, oh, don't worry, it's fine. We'll just carry on what we're doing. But the fact that the decision was made, yes, we're going to go into the kitchen market, and yes, we're going to do KBB show. That's a massive statement, in my opinion. Massive statement. So
obviously people are going to come and see the product. That's the core aim of the thing. But what do you want to come away with it in terms of experience or their opinion of brands in general? What's the train of thought that you want them to be leaving that stand with?
I think predominantly it's, oh, great, Teka's back. And that's some really good stuff. That's predominantly what I want from the experience. I think I want people to come on, have a look at the product, feel it, work it, have a go with it and whatever, and kind of go, oh, that's actually a really good kit. That's really nice stuff for the price level that we're sort of aiming it for, to kind of go, all right, that is a legitimate opportunity for my studio to go, oh, do you know what? Yeah, I've got a more affordable kitchen that I've got coming up. Well, yeah, great. Well, let's have a look at that and give it a go. I just hope they leave the stand going, oh yeah, we'd like to give them a shot.
It's the real deal.
Yeah, exactly. Like you say, the market is stretched at the moment for brands. There's hell of a lot of them. And just to be given the shot and to be given the opportunity to be used in designs and whatever, fantastic. That's what we want,
I think what's interesting about going to a show like that in the way that you are for the first time is you'll get as much from it as the people coming on the stand will. You'll learn as much. You'll have as many conversations with people, as you say, looking for what they really want and what they're really looking for from a company like yours. And you'll come away with it with a whole new train of thought and a whole new experience from
Completely.
it.
And that's kind of what I said previously. You know, we're there to learn. We're there to hear and talk and discuss and understand what people need. What we're showing at the stand is what is there, beginning of March 2026 and a bit more. But there's plenty of new stuff coming through. This is what we've got now, but tell us what you need and we'll go away and have a look at it and see whether we can make it.
Julia, so you've been with them 4 years now. You're doing KBB 2026. Let's jump forward to KBB 2028.
Gosh.
Where do you want to be in 2 years' time? What kind of visions or goals do you have that you're allowed to tell us of?
I would say in my idea, 2 years is the same probably as 6 months in another. It moves so quickly that anything is possible. I think what I'd like from this show, going back to and true marketing style, I wrote down some words that I would like for the visitors to come away with, which is predominantly wow, exciting, new, comprehensive, commercial, opportunity, cohesive, thoughtful, inspiring. That's what I'd like them to. It's just quite a lot, and obviously great polo shirts. But the main thing for me is we're here in the UK. For those that haven't already seen us, spoken to us, come along with us already on our journey. This is what sort of the art of possible. So what we can do, what we're capable of doing, what we can bring. So if you then fast forward that for another 2 years, if you think we're 168 square meters now, showing 2 brands, imagine what another 2 years will look like at the pace after only 4 years of operating, where we will be in the 2 years after that. So it's really exciting, for anybody coming into the organisation, as Ben has. Hopefully he's already seen how ambitious we are. There's no barriers to what we can do. We want to work with our customers. We want to be everything to everybody. Super ambitious, and we will achieve that because everybody's completely switched on to achieving it. So this is really exciting for the organisation and also for our customers, I hope.
I'm really looking forward to seeing what you come up with. I think the one thing that we won't miss is that Midea have arrived. When we come out of that show, that you've arrived and that you're here and you're here to stay. So look, thank you for spending us a bit of time to talk us through this today. I'm really looking forward to seeing it all properly at the show. And obviously you're also going to be at our award. You're one of our award sponsors. Thank you very much for that. That means keeping a clear head on the Monday night, Ben. I'm just saying.
Well, of course, it goes without saying.
Yeah.
It's not Ben you need to worry about, to be fair, Andy. It's probably me. But
you've got to get up and present the trophy, Julia.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So, look, I can't wait for it. Thank you so much for all your support around that. I'm really looking forward to the show. So, good luck, and we'll see you there.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you very much.